Welcome to Wild and Weird Radio, everybody. This is our first launch into video where you can see every one of us. So tonight, our topic, we are going to dive into some of the lore of the Isles, and we're going to go into Leprechauns, and it's going to get wild and weird, that I can promise. So let's go ahead and dive into it. How has your all's week been?
Busy.
Yeah. I feel like we're on the Brady Bunch, like Wayne was saying. Like I'm looking up a block and looking down a block. It has been busy. Ron, why has it been busy?
It's been busy because we're getting ready for the Braxi Bazaar. And
that is right.
A lot of work getting ready for the Braxi Bazaar, actually. So
yeah, it takes a good bit to get ready for these shows. Normally we get about a month heads up on the shows before we really start getting and diving into producing what we've got. So Wayne, how's things been going on your end?
Let me show you how things have been going on my end, Joe.
That good.
It's Irish whiskey. Water. It's an Irish, yeah. It's fire water. Water of the devil.
Yeah, Tullamore Dew's actually some good stuff.
See this? This was given to me by one of our listeners.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. Squatch on the rocks,
I guess that
baby.
makes you the most famous of us now, because
we already knew that
from our listeners, other than like negative remarks about not knowing what interstate runs through where.
Let's be real about that.
Who are you talking to, Ron? You're looking over there somewhere.
What was that? Was that a cat?
Yeah.
Let
me talk to no one. Hold on. Hey, stop it. Settle down, everybody. We'll have none of that.
Well, guys, I can guarantee you the show just got way funnier than what it used to be, because now we can see each other and it's just going to go nuts. But we're going to make it work, and we're going to keep her all streamlined as best as we can. But tonight's topic, it might be a little tough to keep it as streamlined as possible, because the lore about leprechauns it's like a choose your own adventure, right? You've got lucky creatures, you've got demonic creatures, you've got creatures that will steal your organs, and then you've got the tribe of the gods.
I like those, actually. Those are the best ones.
Yeah. So it's a really interesting topic, and it was a topic that really kind of crept up on us. It wasn't something like how our normal topics are, right? We normally will sit and kind of stew on one for a little while till we choose it. But this was kind of a spur of the
6 months away from when it probably should air. Yeah. Huh?
Yeah. And but it's a really interesting episode, and it's going to give us all a good time here to go over some of it. So
listen, here's the thing about that. It's not just 6 months away. It's not like leprechauns just are gone for, they only come around St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah, they're like the Easter Bunny, I think.
Yeah, no. Listen, they're building shoes for fairies all year long.
No. Well,
they are. Maybe. They dance a lot.
Okay.
And they drink a lot.
Oh, that would be my King Arthur. If I was a knight in King Arthur's court, that would be my name. Sir Dance a Lot.
A lot.
Mm-hmm. I didn't say I dance good. I just said I dance a lot.
It's a lot. Well, just to cover some of the base lore for you guys. Leprechauns are what are considered
They're real.
And maybe.
Like I just jumped in there out of nowhere. This is going to get stupid.
it's going to be fun though.
They're real.
So it is believed that leprechauns are like solitary in nature. So contrary to like, the Keebler elves and whatnot, and how they don't live in a tree or something like that, leprechauns generally are solitary, fairy-like creatures. There's little tiny people with magical abilities.
They're the only fairy that has a trade.
Yeah, they are. They're cobblers.
Wait, stop. No, tooth fairies.
Yes. Mm-mm.
Oh, good point.
I got you.
Good point.
No.
Tooth fairies are kind of dentists.
No, They're not kind of dentists. They don't work on your teeth. They just take your teeth. They're thieves.
Oh, okay.
That's different than.
So
Listen, I'm defending leprechauns and trashing tooth fairies.
I have to object here.
the fairy tale side to all of this is it's where we get the whole crock of gold or the pot of gold story. Like, he's here to steal my lucky charms. That whole story.
It's only funny
It comes
if you do it in that accent.
Well, that probably will get us a bad review. We don't have any listeners in Ireland anyway. Hey, he's here to steal me lucky charms. See, that's really bad.
Oh,
Yeah.
It's so bad.
That.
Yeah.
But the lore goes that if you catch one of these little guys and you can keep your eyes on him because they're tricky little turds, that, he'll take you to his hiding place. Now, that doesn't mean he's taking you to his gold. That just means he's taking you to the hiding place. So it's kind of a
and he gives you 3 wishes.
Yeah, right.
It gives you 3 wishes, but here's the thing: it's not one of those like good 3 wishes, because he's a trickster and he's always trying to turn the tables on you. So, and he will turn the tables on. And you know what the other curious thing about all this is, Joe, that I never thought about, but in every research I did, it came up that there are no female leprechauns.
Yeah, they're all dudes.
Oh, yeah. So how does that happen?
By magical copulation.
No, here's the thing. Maybe they don't procreate like humans do, and maybe they just live forever.
Could be. They might be immortal. That's a possibility. It's there were some fairy tales that did include the immortality factor of a leprechaun, and if you did a specific thing to it, that it would die, but that was the only way it was going to die. But the word leprechaun, aside from the lore, the word leprechaun it translates to little body. That's directly what it comes out to from I believe Gaelic.
Yeah, that's leprechaun.
Leprechaun.
Yeah, it means a little body. Now, this doesn't mean like folks with dwarfism, right? That's not the same kind of thing. A lot of a big misconception with a lot of this, and if you would actually speak with somebody with Irish heritage or lived in Ireland for any period of time, they would confirm that no, this is not talking about a little person or anybody who's suffering from dwarfism. This is literally like a little body, just tiny creature.
Yeah. It's like they're like 3 foot tall, like the size of a 1 or 2 year old.
Yeah, they're very small, very little bodied, but they look like little old men. I'm sure the imagery that would probably come to most people's minds is the American horror movie series Leprechaun, where you have this bulbous-nosed, red-bearded, murderous little creature. If you haven't seen those movies, I highly recommend them. You will laugh till you pee your pants. They're supposed to be horror movies.
So
they are
hilarious. I tell you what, this Friday night, if you're not doing nothing and you want to pee your pants this Friday, get on it.
Yeah.
Ron, if you're into peeing your pants on a Friday night,
good, man.
All the cool kids are peeing their pants.
Yeah.
I'm good.
Come on, Ron. All the new UFO people are peeing their pants.
No. The most interesting thing about these little guys, though, I thought, was how they remind us of some of the discussions we've had before. The little people, right?
Yeah. Yep. Moon-eyed people, the little people, the
Puckwudgies.
Really, with their behavior, sometimes it almost reminds you of the Puckwudgie stories.
Yes. So I just found it interesting that there's so much similarity, and we're talking about, continents apart.
Yeah.
But we are talking about, and this is important, the leprechaun is specific to Ireland.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it is.
They were there before the first people, is the legend.
That's the legend.
Yes. They're the original inhabitants.
So back in 17 700 BC or whatever it was.
And that goes back even to the Moon-Eyed people, that they were the original inhabitants of the area where the Cherokee came in.
Mm-hmm.
So there's those legends again, right? But do these people, I'm curious, Joe, do they actually believe that leprechauns are real?
Oh, yes. Yes, it is. It is one of those things where it's not even, it goes beyond superstition,
Mm-hmm.
right? It goes beyond that to this, and it's not even like faith-based either. It's like, don't screw with the leprechauns. They'll kill you.
Mm-hmm.
They're scared of these things. Actually, it's not like anybody's actively looking for them, trying to find the pot of gold.
Well, but it's like this, Joe. It's like the First Nation stories about Sinakwa and stuff like that.
Yeah, it is very reminiscent of that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I was amazed when I started doing a little research on this, that yes, they did think, they still do. They thought these things were real and still think they're real. That in 1999, they actually they stopped in a complete motorway from being put in, because they believed that this was the land where these guys were at.
They believed it. For an exact number, they said that there were 13 of these leprechauns that lived in this valley.
Of course.
Hey, 13 is a fun number. That's my favorite number, so it's not bad.
Well, here's the thing, that there was a story in 1989, which 10 years before what you're talking about, that P.J. O'Hare found a skeleton and some clothes, a little skeleton wrapped in clothes of what he said was a leprechaun.
Yeah, I remember that.
And it's funny because the skeleton turned to dust, not long after he found it.
He found gold coins too, right?
Yeah, he still has the clothes, but that's interesting. And then, so you're looking at 20 years later, 10 years after what you just talked about, the European collective made them protected.
Yeah.
They're protected species or being.
Yeah, 200 and some in particular in this valley.
Yeah, they put an exact number.
Amazing.
That lived in the entire area, which is just crazy. It seems absolutely bonkers that, but in this region, they're very much believed in. It almost reminds me of the way the folks that live in the Himalayas view the Yeti. Like, they're like, yeah, no, we just don't go over there because that's where the Yeti's at, and we don't want to get our world wrecked by it.
Yes,
a better example is the Norwegian people, who believe that there are elves still living in.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean, and there's like areas that they know that they're there, or that they just stay away from.
Yes, they will not hear them. Yes.
I mean,
that is accurate.
It's pretty crazy world we live in. You know what I found interesting, and I did not know this. So we think, if you can see Joe's background, of the little man in a green suit, with the gold buttons and buckles and all that. But it didn't start out with a green suit. No. Actually, that's not what they really believe. Did you know that?
Yep.
What color? So what was it that they wore?
Red.
And a pod hat.
Mm-hmm. And here's the thing. We kind of, if you think about this, Ron, didn't we talk about the Pied Piper a while back? And didn't he had a multicolor thing, but wasn't there a reference to that he came back in all red?
Yes, there was. Absolutely. That was when he returned. Yes.
I mean, that's kind of weird. Not that they mentioned him being, extremely small or anything. And of course, that's a whole world away, but, from Ireland. But still, it's just interesting, how some of the colors pull through and have, in some of these same stories.
Well, one wonders if they're symbolic, right? I mean,
yes.
It's really similar to gnomes as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Gnomes were always portrayed as wearing blue and red, mostly red. They didn't necessarily have a pied hat, but their hats were conical. And, depending on your view of whatever it is you're seeing, like this conical hat could technically be pied if you're just looking at it head on. Because you'd still see that kind of cone shape coming up behind it. It just wouldn't be as tall. So, I mean, you have a lot of similarities there. But Ron came across a really good background, and that ties into the mythology of these, that goes into the realm of ancient astronaut theory.
Yeah.
Imagine that. Ron's going to tie this into aliens.
But it's there, and it's very prevalent. So,
whoa, I'm surprised, right? Ron, you've caught me off guard.
My mind is blown.
I know, right? Leprechauns. But no, for real.
Go ahead. I'm interested.
Okay. What was really interesting about the whole thing was the mention in one of the articles that these guys were they were associated with water spirits, and
what they called these guys were the Tuatha De Danann.
Tuatha De Danann, right? So what that is,
close enough. I don't know if you're right, but close
it's
enough.
Tuatha De Danann.
So what it literally translates to is tribe of the gods. Tuatha De. De is deity, gods. So think about this, guys. This goes.
Think about it, guys. Think about it.
It goes into the whole pantheon that we've talked about multiple times, over and over again. These, there was one, I believe, one of the early Christian concepts says that they were actually fallen angels, neither good nor bad fallen angels, by the way.
It was. You're right.
So they're Swedish fallen angels.
There you go. So we had the Swedish,
Swedish angels.
Swedish angels. I think that's a new term, Wayne.
Yeah, you're welcome.
It's going to replace the hot air balloons.
Wait till Giorgio hears about this.
Yeah, right. The Swedish. So anyway, what I was getting at is it's the same legends. It's just a different place of the world. We have this pantheon of gods, right? The same thing.
Yeah.
So the Greek, now we have, this is the Irish version. But instead of these monstrous beings, we have these little guys. So
little old tiny diminutives.
That's interesting to me because, like Wayne had found on the first story about over here in North America, the small people, the little ones, various tribes talk about the same things. We even mentioned in one of the little people episode how mummified remains were found. This kind of solidifies, to me at least, that there was something here that was very small, and it could have been a subspecies for all we know. I don't know. I have no idea what these things were, but I don't really laugh at that kind of stuff anymore. So I can't really laugh at the whole leprechaun thing. I can see the leprechaun being a sort of a take on all that.
Let's go back to the Flannan Owls.
Yeah.
What did they say? What was the legend of that owl?
Yeah.
That they did not want to go there because there were little people there. And then the priest seen that, right?
Yeah.
He had seen, that's why he left. That was the story.
Yes, that's right.
So I mean, who knows?
It's easy to laugh about it hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years later.
Mm-hmm. But
at the time, these people were not laughing. And I know that one of the things I had read said something like, what was it? Recently, a 2011 survey was conducted by an Irish whiskey brand. It concluded that 1/3 of the Irish people believed in the existence of leprechauns. The leprechauns almost seem like, UFOs, to us. It's like, they used to make, well, they don't anymore too much, but they used to make fun of that, right? Like, oh, well, everybody thinks they've seen a UFO. Well, apparently in Ireland, everyone thinks they've seen a leprechaun or a fairy or,
Yep.
some kind of a fae folk, right?
It often gets associated with the same thing with, like how the Hat Man or the Shadow People, where you see this object move in the corner of your eye, and that's a leprechaun,
Wee
that's
folk,
a fairy,
right? That's the wee
fae
folk.
folk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, I mean, I'm open to it. What are you guys thinking about this?
Well, it's one of those that it's so similar, again, with many other First Nations tales. We've got them here in our country. They've got them there in their country. It's the same deal with the little people that existed all over the globe and the stories of little people. And here we're finding these little diminutive skeletons. For example, the hobbits that were washed up there in Indonesia after the big tsunami. We're finding these things, finding proof. But the thing with science is wanting to say that the proof with these creatures is so old and dated that obviously it's on the fossil record,
Sure,
but that they just don't exist anymore. So we're, coming from a logic based, looking at all the information we have on the table, there was obviously something there before. It's in their original lore of the Irish history is that the little people were there well before they arrived. Were they the same people that were found washed up in Indonesia? Were they the same people that were killed out by the Cherokee? Which it's hard to say. The little people tales are one of the ones, like you had said, like I can't just shake a stick at it anymore and just say, no, it's all hogwash, because we're finding small skeletons. All of these people all around the world, they've got these stories. So there has to be some kind of root, some kind of original basis to it, in my opinion.
Yeah,
Exactly. Absolutely. I agree.
that's what he was saying.
Good chime in there.
It wouldn't quite.
No, it wasn't working, was it?
Well, it's the yellow in the state that was clashing with the
Yeah.
bad. When you got it into the red, it showed up. But no, I think you're right, man. I think there was something there. But how does it all fit into? I mean, come on, leprechauns. I mean, it's kind of like, well, I guess like the Pied Piper, right? I mean, the legend just outgrew actually what it was. I mean, that's kind of how it goes, right? I mean, there's a legend.
The legend definitely evolved way beyond whatever reality was there.
All of a sudden, it's cereal.
Yeah, now it's cereal. We're eating it with marshmallows.
Yeah, I mean, so I guess we've seen
good
that before. So
yeah.
But it's a really interesting topic, though. I mean, a really interesting topic. Have any of you ever seen a leprechaun? I got to ask.
That'd be a big old negative. However, I do run around chasing a small creature every day that is constantly hiding stuff in random places.
Yeah, but it doesn't have gold, and it doesn't stash that at the end of the rainbow.
They grant wishes. They are tricksters, though.
That's true. That's true.
I may have seen one come in the cigar shop at one point. I swear this dude had a beard to make yours look sad.
Wow.
And he couldn't have been, I swear, 3.5 feet tall at the most.
Really?
But he wasn't.
Nice.
He wasn't a dwarf.
You saw Gimli is what you saw.
No. Everything was proportionate. It's like somebody took him and just dragged the corner down and made him proportionate, And I swear we thought it was a child. And we were getting ready to say there's no kids allowed in the cigar lounge. And he turned around and this dude's beard, man, was like down here. And we went. And we all just sat there the whole time he was there like.
Oh, wow.
I mean, it was like I've never seen anybody that was that proportionate that wasn't a child, you know?
Yeah.
He was a nice dude, but thinking about this going back now,
Might have been a leprechaun.
yeah.
Could have been Leprechaun.
You
You should have
guys,
just kept your eyes on him.
If he would have bought a pipe or pipe tobacco, oh, I'd have jumped on him.
I mean, the headlines, the news headlines. I mean,
yeah, that'd be hilarious.
Local boy nabs leprechaun.
Maybe thinking like
assault charges.
Old man grabs another old man in cigar lounge.
this is something you would expect out of Florida man. Florida man comes to Indiana.
That's exactly what I would expect. But yeah.
All right, let me tell you a little story, an old Irish story.
Oh yeah, let's hear an old Irish story.
Okay. So a farmer was walking through the woods one day.
Is this a real Irish story, or
yes?
Are you making it up?
No, well, you ruined crap.
You should have your story. You got to have the storytelling pipe. I don't know what you're doing.
Okay. Well, it's not lit, so.
Got to break out the church warden.
Never lit in movies. It's a prop.
Okay. So hold on. Let me prepare this for those of you that decide to watch this thing.
I'm ready.
So this farmer was walking through the woods one day, walking along a path. A leprechaun jumps out in front of him, surprises him, but he's able to grab him. He gets the leprechaun to take him to where he's buried his gold. So, the leprechaun shows him it was buried under a bush. So, and he says, you can have it if you let me go. And he's like, how will I find it again? There's a lot of bushes around here. And the farmer decides, he goes, you know what? I'm gonna trick him, and I'm gonna let him go, but I'm gonna tie a little red ribbon to the bush so I can find it when I come back. Because he didn't bring, he didn't have a shovel, didn't have a spade, anything. So he leaves, comes back, and he's looking for his bush with the ribbon, and he's like, okay, I know it's right here. And he turns around, down the path, comes upon the bush, but every bush there has a red ribbon on it. That's exactly what leprechauns do.
Trickster.
I always liked that story. Yeah, I've just always liked that story. I was like, boy, he still outsmarted him no matter what.
Wow.
A lot of the folklore stories with these are really interesting, and they're also really entertaining at the same time, which is part of the purpose of them. So,
listen, folks, the Irish culture is great.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
If you haven't read on any of these legends and lores and myths and about fairy, even like we talked about a few, when we did the Pied Piper. I mean, I thought my whole life that was just a story, right? I mean, didn't you, Ron?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, I was amazed at what we uncovered when we did the Pied Piper episode. It was just like, what? It was a total, just blew my mind, literally, because we found so much stuff, and it made me realize how much truth there are to all these old legends.
Mm-hmm.
They may have gotten twisted, they may have gotten misinterpreted, but there's always an underlying truth there. And you know how I feel about that kind of stuff.
Well, did they get misconstrued or twisted, or did they, like when the Pied Piper, did they change it to protect things?
It's possible too.
Good question.
I mean, some of those, what we grew up with hearing about, fairy tales and legends and little creatures and all that, until you actually do some authentic research into the truth of these things, or the more factual historical bearing on these things, it's totally different than what, like, I was taught when I was growing up, because they all made it fun,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you didn't hear about Krampus when you were growing up.
That's a good point. That's a very good point.
But we all know he liked to beat a kid.
Yes, he did.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this year's Krampus episode, by the way. It's become to be a tradition. If people don't,
it will be.
That, it is going to be.
It's coming.
Yes. We have our own little, what is it? Krampusnacht, right? Is that
Krampusnacht.
That's it. Krampusnacht.
Krampusnacht. Yeah.
We try to do. We murder so many dialects on this show.
Yeah. you all do. I nail them every time.
Oh, sure do you do. Yeah. But yeah, you do. I think that this is going to be a really cool format from now on.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting. It gives our listeners a way to interact with us a little bit better, and also it's enhancing the way we're interacting with one another as well.
And you get to see my pretty face all the time, at least once a week, anyway.
Wayne's background needs to just be a white piece of paper with his signature across it.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Ooh. But see, then you got to worry about, people copying that somehow and it getting out there, and then they got fake autographs, and I'm very protective of that.
Writing fake checks.
You would worry about that.
Yeah, well, let me tell you, any check they write is going to be a fake one.
Bounce off the wall like a rubber ball.
This is a good point, actually.
No, I just don't write checks. Actually, I write one check, and it's for my rent every month. But
that's it.
That's it. That's the only check I write.
So in the nature of all of our true investigation type, dives into these mysteries, the eternal question: leprechauns, real or not real?
I don't think I'm ready to give you a complete, definite answer on that, because, at one time when I was, I would have probably said UFOs weren't real. I would have probably said demons, even though I knew they were real, I'd never encountered one, that kind of thing. So just because I've not had that experience, I'm not going to knock somebody else's experience that has, says they've had it. So until it happens to me, I'm on the fence. Fair. It's possible.
Now, here's my take. Are they what we think they are?
No.
Exactly.
I'll go with you on that.
So the possibility, if we remove all of the fairy tale and all
the
of
the commercialism.
Yeah, the commercialization of leprechauns. If we remove that, it becomes a whole lot more believable for me at that point. That there could have been some kind of small race of people. We've found fossil record of it before. Who's to say that they didn't cross the oceans at some point?
Well, we know there was a St. Nicholas.
They weren't on that piece of land when it broke apart.
We know there was a St. Nicholas, but he's not Santa as we, as they commercialized him. So, I mean, this dude hung out with Krampus. So,
yeah, right.
The new one's not going to hang out with Krampus, just little bitty elves.
No. I know.
Which is a cool
that's
gig
where all
in
the
itself.
leprechauns went.
Yeah, that's a cool gig in itself. If you
possibility that that is where all the leprechauns went. Maybe those are the elves.
Yeah.
Well, only if you're getting shoes at Christmas.
But
and they're small shoes.
Oh well. Yeah.
So what do you think, Ron?
I think once we strip away the modern mythology and we focus on the actual stories and the legends of hundreds and hundreds of years ago, then it becomes a different story. When we hear things about the tribes of the gods, I have to absolutely sit up and take notice of that. I think a lot of people would. You can't just dismiss it because, these were backwoods people who made up stories. No, that's not how that worked. Of course they made up stories, but they didn't make up stories just to make up stories. They were based on something. And if you want to believe it's a made up story, that's wonderful. But then you have to explain to me how the same story repeats on continent after a continent after continent, and a time when there was really no communication between those continents. So, yeah, I think there's a good possibility that there is something there. I don't know what it is. Related to the Fae, yes, absolutely. Whatever that is, I don't know what that is. And when I say Fae, I don't mean Tinkerbell, okay? Mm-hmm. I'm talking about a label that we put upon these things that we don't understand. like we do everything else.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
But, you know, coming from a research perspective, I have to put this one at a possible maybe.
Plausible.
Yeah, it's plausible, but definitely not what it has been made out to
Not
be.
what's behind you.
I still think
not
it's more.
this guy.
I still think it's more convincing to me than the Jersey Devil. Sorry.
Oh yeah, leprechauns are way more viable than a Jersey Devil in my opinion.
The only reason that we have to say that is because we found, you know, the mention of you know who and the feud, right? I mean,
Yeah.
in fairness,
Webster and Franklin, yeah.
yes, that's him. If we didn't find that though, if we hadn't found that piece of evidence, that little thing that's often
Then it would have set in that weird area of
The same group as this, yeah.
Yes.
The same
But
thing as Chupacabra.
We found really hard evidence that it was all, as they would call it in their day, poppycock.
Very likely. Yeah. Sadly, but
Yeah.
very likely.
Because it really is a neat mythology or neat lore, but it's just a mess.
And for those who haven't listened to that episode, you want to go back and listen to it. There's no video associated with it because that was back in time.
That was before they came out with video.
Yeah.
So moving forward, guys, this is going to be our pretty regular format that you can expect to catch Wild and Weird Radio on. We'll be throwing these up on YouTube for everybody.
Some of these will actually air before the podcast. So you're going to want to definitely subscribe to our channel on YouTube. And
how much is that?
Hit the subscribe bell.
Yeah.
Like the videos. It's a really small action on your all's end. It's just a couple clicks, but for us, it really makes a huge difference. It makes
so there's no cost to subscribe. Is that what you're telling me?
It's 100% free to subscribe. You just get an alert that we've posted a new video. And what that does is it helps us stand out amongst all of the other stuff. And believe me, one of the reasons that we're getting into the video oriented podcasts and things of that nature is because there is so much garbage that is just being spouted out everywhere. People are just reading whatever, and it's being spun off as gospel. So we're really kind of coming in here to with a goal of leveling that kind of field and coming at these things in a same balanced way that we always have. But now we're going to be on YouTube, and you can just watch our ugly mugs talk for whatever reason if you want to do that.
So boys, let me ask you all, because I know Mothman was canceled and all that.
Yes.
So what does Wild and Weird have coming up? Anything?
Wild and Weird Con is still on. Okay. We've got a lot of messages. We've had a lot of people concerned that Wild and Weird Con would cancel because the Mothman Festival had canceled. We are not canceling. This ship is sailing as long as the state is going to permit it to sail. Just like with last year when we shut down and had to move the benchmark back, that was because we were forced to by the state of West Virginia. We will carry on and move forward the course unless we're otherwise told to do something different. So you can expect to see Wild and Weird Con November the 6th with a special event on November 5th, Friday night, where it's going to be a nighttime workshop, dinner, and hangout. We have got it down to, I'm wanting to say 12 spots left out of 25. So we're just one over half full. So if you're interested in getting in on that event, that's a $25 upcharge to the event fee,
which is cheaper than most. So for $35, you can do the Friday and the Saturday.
Yeah. $35, it covers your entire weekend.
That's cheaper than most conferences.
It is. It is. And one of, we're doing this in a real grassroots way. A lot of the cost was absorbed up front by Wild and Weird West Virginia. and
Thank you, Ron and Joe.
we're just putting as much as we can out there.
No. Thank you to
Thank you, people.
Thank you to the customers and the fans of our products at Wild and Weird.
If it wasn't for you guys, we wouldn't have Wild and Weird Con.
Well, but still, at some level, you came up with this idea to give back to the people.
Yeah, we did definitely put it back to dump back into the community. So
yeah, you mean you're not getting rich off of this?
Oh God.
$10 a person, probably going to take a lot of people.
Yeah, $10 per person is going to take.
And I know that a lot of people do think, that these events and whatnot, you do see a lot of free events and whatnot. But here's the thing: you don't see that in this field very often.
Not in this kind of venue.
No, not in this kind of.
The kind of venue that we're having this in, on average, just to get in the door is normally around $35 for paranormal conventions.
We know that.
And there's nothing wrong with that, because they're putting on these amazing, gorgeous shows with great people and great speakers. We're doing the same thing, guys. We've got your great speakers. We've got your gorgeous environment. We've got everything that you could possibly ask for, restaurant included, $10.
Yeah.
Folks, I got to go there a few weeks ago, and this place is gorgeous. You're sitting up on kind of the top of the hill. You feel like you're out in the wilderness, out alone, on this spot, but you're not far from, I guess, civilization. It ain't like you can't get there pretty quick, but it feels like you're, kind of on an island in the woods.
It kind of does, because of I think the height of it. And
it's really beautiful. Cool.
Very pretty.
It's outdoors is beautiful, and the interior of this building is very well kept, very clean, very
great staff.
Yes, great staff, great people there.
Massive rooms.
Yep, it's beautiful.
But I think one of the I think we had some people who were asking, I guess, about the price and whatnot, Joe. They found it confusing, because it said $10 and then $25, but it's $10 at the door. We've said this multiple times. So we'll keep saying it. That's at the door.
$10 at the door on Saturday.
Now, the $25 comes in if you want to get in on the November 5th, the evening workshop.
Okay. So that's a separate charge, folks.
Separate charge.
That is a completely separate charge. And the reason it is $25 is because we're feeding you.
Yep.
Well, and you get to hang out closely with us, and, maybe get an autograph from me. And
Dave's going to be there conducting some stuff. We've got some people some stuff. It's going to be really cool.
If Dave Roberts is going to be there, we may owe him some money back.
I don't think Dave No, Dave said he was going to try to be there, though. He really did.
Good. Dave Roberts needs to make it out. I'd love that.
He's a good dude.
He's an important guy to be there.
By the way, I don't know if any of you guys have been listening, but we have, Dave has been getting us some new background music that you'll hear in the podcast. Yes. We have been playing together again to do that. I don't know if anyone knows that. We make our own everything. Literally. Yeah,
our graphics are made in-house. The music's done in-house. It's a completely 100% in-house operation.
So we are playing on the background, basically what you're hearing with Dave, and that is our new endeavor. That's called the Space Brothers, by the way. Yeah, I know, clever, right? That's our new gig, and so be listening for it. There will also be a future album, as Dave has many albums now. We'll actually put some links up for it, because that's the right thing to do for him. He does a lot of work for us.
We've got a couple other things coming up. We've got the Braxi Bazaar coming up on September the 11th. This show might air the week after the Braxi Bazaar. So the YouTube might go up before, but the show might be a little after. So as far as the time frame goes on that,
we don't know yet.
We're not 100% sure yet. But then we've got Cryptid Con coming up, where Wild and Weird Radio will be there present at Cryptid Con in Lexington, Kentucky, and that's the weekend of November 20th. Then let's see. as far as that goes, pretty much sums up the events that you'll be able to catch us at the rest of this year.
No. Don't you have a local event going on at Halloween?
Oh, yeah. The Wild and Weird Trunk or Treat extravaganza is going to be taking place at Canola State Forest. Where Wild and Weird is sponsoring a trunk or treat, and it's going to be a good time. So we're gonna have like a bonfire, and
I heard Mothman might be there.
Well, it's possible that we might have contracted Mothman to show up.
I heard Wayne may even show up if it's possible.
Hey, you never know. You never know. There's been stranger things happen out in those woods. So
oh, that's right. This is the place where
this is the place where a lot of weird stuff goes on, guys. It's going to be at Canola State Forest. We actually just got a report in from there last week. So that's another report coming out of that area is just on fire with reports for whatever reason. I mean, I know what the reason is, but it's just this big wide open area with it's old growth forest.
Alcoholics.
That too.
I'm just
Could be.
I'm joking.
I personally like to attribute it to the old growth forests that are there.
Then with Wayne. I think it's also important to mention really quick that we are going to be starting a new segment on the show, and
yes,
Tales of the Wild and Weird. And man, am I excited! If you want to be a part of that, we're actually going to be bringing around our little recording device to all of our shows, and you can just stop by the table and record your Tales of the Wild and Weird right there. Or you can record them yourself and send them in to us. Joe, you want to go over that? The technical.
Yeah, okay. So there's if you're recording it yourself, if you're not meeting us on the road somewhere and you need to record this yourself to send it in to submit it, the way you need to do that, most people, you may not know this, you might not, but most people, if you have a smartphone, you have a native recording device that is on your phone. Now, what native means is that it just comes in on your phone automatically when you purchase it. It's going to, if you're on an Android phone, it's going to look like this. It'll show up in a folder that's called Essentials. And it's the HD audio. Oh, man.
Hold it in front
there
of you.
There we go.
Yeah.
It's the HD audio recorder. You tap that button, and it'll bring up a little recorder. All you got to do is hit the record button, and it starts recording. I'm recording myself right now for Wild and Weird Radio. When I'm not sitting at home or when I'm driving down the road, I listen to Wild and Weird Radio. That's one thing that you can send in to us if you want. Or you can go ahead and record your story, and you can send it that way. But the stories, you're going to want to record those. Either you can call us on the phone, we can record them, or you can call into the show and just join us on the show. It's going to be kind of a complicated thing until we get it nailed down and streamlined, but we've got to get some of those sent in first before we can get going and figure out what the easiest way to do it is.
Yeah. Once it gets going, folks, it's going to add a little bit to the show. It's going to give you just a little bit of break, you know, and it's going to,
it's going nearly as fun as Ovilus, though.
It's going to be more fun than Ovilus because these are our listeners. Ovilus doesn't listen to us. It says what it wants.
Way more.
Yeah, Ovilus just listens to the Legion.
Yeah.
With telepathy.
Legion.
So,
folks, once again, all you have to do is say, hey, I'm Joe Perdue. When I'm not, traipsing through the forest and looking for signs of Bigfoot, I'm listening to Wild and Weird Radio.
That would be the easiest way to send it in over your phone.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That is it. And you will be a part of the show at some point. I can guarantee
and then,
that.
If you do want to record, probably one of the best ways to do it would even just be to email us. And the best way to contact us is wildandweirdwv@gmail.com. And then we can go about the recording process with you over the phone.
You can do that. And you can also record a very low quality video. We'll just take the audio off of it. Point your camera toward the sky, record. There's so many ways to do it. I don't know. I mean, like he said.
Or if you wanted to just join us on the show, we could arrange for you to come on and you could talk to us in face to face.
I hear there's room for a few people, you know.
Now that we're using this platform, we've got room for around, I don't know, a dozen people to join us.
Yeah, we'd like to not only hear from you, but we'd like to see you at some point.
Yeah.
You know, we like to know who's listening, and we like to have you a part of the show. It's very important that, I mean, you all interact with us on the Facebook pages, you know, I mean, a ton. It is crazy how much you all respond and interact and comment, but we want you a part of the show too.
Yeah.
So if
We
you
want
ever
our
had dreams of
listeners
being a superstar,
to get to hear themselves through the show. So with all of that said, it's time for your weekly rundown. If you guys want to continue,
let's hear music here.
Yeah.
Right.
If you guys want to continue to support Wild and Weird Radio, you can go to wildandweirdwv.com, click on the shop tab. It's going to open up all of our shop settings that you can click through. You can go and just order directly there and have it shipped straight to your house. One of our listeners did so this week. Your item ships out tomorrow. By the time you hear this, you're probably already going to have it.
Thank you, Larry.
Then, if you want to send in a contact or any kind of sighting or any type of event that you have had happen with you, you can send it to wildandweirdwv@gmail.com, or you can go to wildandweirdwv.com, click on the Contact Us tab where you can report your sighting or your occurrence there. If you're close enough to our area, we might actually come out and investigate it.
Unless it's a leprechaun.
If it's a leprechaun, we're probably just going to leave it alone.
Well, I don't know. I might tackle one of the little suckers.
If you guys want to catch up on more Wild and Weird Radio, you just go click on the podcast tab on wildandweirdwv.com. It's going to open up our entire backlog that you're going to be able to go through and listen to your heart's content. You'll even be able to leave the window, and the widget that we have on our website will allow the player to keep rolling while you work away and toil in your cubicle.
Widget.
Or at home.
Like an Ewok or something, and they're close to leprechauns.
I know, right? It's kind of close. We've got
They're
like
closer
a leprechaun
to
that works
Bigfoot.
for us now.
Miniature leprechaun Bigfoots.
So, I think that covers us for now. Till next time, stay wild and weird, everybody.
And folks, don't forget, all shamrocks are clovers, but not all clovers are shamrocks. Something to think about.